really scary when you wake up in the morning and you say to yourself, God, it's 75 years ago that I went on my first safari.
I think it's a love story. I think it's a story of my parents and their legacy and falling in love with Xigera, this particular camp in the Delta, for its wildlife, its location of these extraordinary canopy of trees, which is where we have rebuilt the exact camp.
The Tolmans approached me about more than 3 years ago with an extraordinary request to design something unique. I don't think it's the first time that they asked me to design something unique, but this was a very rare sort of request. First of all, they were very excited that they acquired a camp in the Okavango Delta, which was a lifelong dream of the Tolmans, especially Mr. Stanley Tolman.
After being married for about 10 years, B and I acquired our first camp in the Eastern Transvaal called Soabili. And we had some wonderful years there, which started my lifelong romance with the bush. Some years later, I met a fellow called Colin Bell, who had started a company called Wilderness Safaris that had a few camps. We became the largest shareholder in Wilderness Safaris.
And it started over 35 years ago with the love affair with Xigera, but 60 years ago with being South African, our love of the bush and the African safari. And Xigera came about because my parents wanted people our guests to experience the safari, the African safari, in a completely new space, a completely new dialogue, in the red carnation way.
But there was a camp which we acquired 30 odd years ago when nothing was there, called Xigera, and I'd always loved the place, visiting whenever I could. And I got a chance to kind of recreate in Xigera what I had lived with, what I had seen, what I experienced in all my years in Africa.
Close to 90% of the furniture, hospitality items, accessories, art at Xigera have been handmade in Africa. Over 80 artists spent close to 2 years creating these bespoke items unique to the lodge that literally you won't see anywhere else.
So where do you start when you have to design something unique? You can't just like pull it out of the air. So I sort of looked around at other camps to see what they did, at their inspiration, and I must say I couldn't really find anything that sort of excited me a lot. And then I was very lucky at the end of 2017 to be able to make a trip to Xigera itself with Mr. Michael Tolman, and I met there with old friends of the Tolman family, Michael and Marion. Mike Myers and Marion. Mike is a game ranger. He's always been one, and he was involved with the Tolman family at a very early time.
Designed by our wonderful architect Anton de Kock, Xigera Safari Lodge really fits into the island absolutely beautifully. Being an island with tall trees and very old trees, there's a lot of shadow, and Anton has chosen to use this Japanese shoshugi bun wood around the edges of each of the buildings so that it's dark. So walking along the walkways with our suites in shadow, as are the main buildings, they really blend into the environment quite beautifully. And I think one of the most wonderful things is as you open the door of any suite at Xigera, you step out of this shadow area into a beautiful, light, airy, gorgeous space with a view out over the floodplains. It's quite spectacular.
From artists living at Xigera for months at a time, creating sculptural furniture pieces from fallen trees right on the site, to local Botswana designers producing high-end contemporary pieces, the top ceramic artists in Africa, acres of caracal wool hand-woven by master weavers into carpets, blacksmiths, bronze sculptures, historical and contemporary leading fine artists, glass blowers, basket weavers, bead workers, and the finest cabinetry. The list of materials and processes just goes on and on. It's the highest density of making I've ever come across.
One of the most interesting parts of Xigera are all our services. Xigera is a village. We support a large staff and obviously a great number of guests as well in the 12 suites. The lodge is supplied by a 400 kilowatt Tesla solar plant. We call it the energy center. Certainly one of the areas that I'm most proud of at Xigera is our use of solar power for all of the energy needs of this great lodge.
And the journey that we've taken, and the people we've met, and the artists that we've engaged, because every single step of the way for the last three and a half years has had the caveat of the best safari in the world as our guideline, to be able to do whatever it took to deliver that final product.
Although I left South Africa 45 years ago, for the last 20 years I have come back, invested heavily in the country in all aspects of tourism. And Xigera, for both B and I, has really been the fulcrum of what we felt like and what we created. Together with my children and some talented people who have worked with us for many years.
So this is really an ode to my parents, an ode to our family, and a gift to the world to experience the African safari in a whole new space, which is Xigera time, which means coming on safari with us, you can do whatever you want at any time of the day, and we tailor everybody's singular stay to suit their love, their favorite food, their favorite time of day to go out, their favorite time to do yoga, their favorite time to play chess out on the deck.
So to cut a long story short, one day we went on a boat trip on the delta, on the water, and I will never forget that day. It was just incredible. The natural bird life and the flora around the river and the water bodies was just incredible. It is still extremely vivid in my mind, and I was hugely impressed by stupid little things like a water lily, for instance. There are millions of water lilies around the water, but when you look at it in detail and in that environment and you blow it up in your mind, it just becomes an incredible piece of creation. Together with that, there was the incredible bird life. As we went down the river, flocks of birds would take off, kingfishers would hover in the sky, and there were like hundreds of pelicans that would just fly over. It was just phenomenal. So that inspired me, and it was incredible because that's the uniqueness of the site, and that made it unique. And that wasn't so difficult, actually. If you want something really extraordinary and unique, then explore what is unique in its space and its environment.
From our generous breakfasts to our laid-back lunches, our picnics in the bush, which are absolutely gorgeous and luscious, to our Boma dinner in the evenings, eating fireside under the African sky. There is no better experience in the entire world.
It's all about the touch points. From the second that a guest clicks on their mouse to our webpage or even calls our company to book, they already feel welcome to the Red Carnation family. We anticipate whatever they need at any point in time, that they always are just comfortable. The guests are indeed the heartbeat of our brand. They are the ones, the reason why we're here. We're here to make memories with them. We're here to create an experience that they'll never get. And everything that we do, every morning that we wake up and do anything, the first thing we think about is our guests. How can we make them feel more comfortable? How can we make the experience completely out of this world?
Xigera has the biggest collection of limited edition collectible African design in the world. It's the largest collection, and this goes way beyond just furnishing. A journey through the lodge is like a design safari.
In the Red Carnation group from South Africa, plus our chefs who have worked closely with us all these years, these different recipes that were embodied in her cookbook.
If I could describe the overall dining experience at Xigera, I would say that it is curated, unfussy, but absolutely delicious.
And I have to say, it's a huge ask to create something that's never been done, and that's something that is going to lead the world in a new safari space that I believe that we have that we've delivered on. And you'll all have to come and experience it for yourself to see whether I'm right.
We have created something very special, a legacy that will last hopefully in Africa for many years. Xigera embodies the best of everything.